animalistic impulse, who observed religion, like beauty, cannot be experienced in cold blood. We have oftentimes been accused of being God's frozen people, heads without hearts. But this is fundamentally untrue, both in the history of Unitarian Universalism and in its contemporary manifestations. The fact is that we are as rich in emotion and passion as we are sound in reason and thoughtfulness. Ours is a faith that engages both the head and the heart, and that moves us to use our hands to fashion of this beautiful world in which we live a healthier, more wholesome place for human beings and indeed for all of Earth's creatures. Nothing could be further from the truth than to suggest that Unitarian Universalism is a religion for the head only, one that draws only the intellectual and the thoughtful. That is not enough. We are so much richer and more fully human than that. The problem is that it's precisely those forms of religion which might be described as emotion run amok, which seem to be chillingly cold-blooded in their practices and consequences. For so much of the most emotional expressions of religious faith actually dismiss human concerns and don't hold the needs of people at the forefront as they zealously and emotionally seek to pursue a particular set of beliefs, often beliefs which are so thoroughly medieval, it's hard to imagine how anyone can hold them today. When we seek an emotional and passionate liberal religion, we are not seeking to simply mimic the thoughtlessness that may occur in other places or may even occur among ourselves, but rather we are seeking to embrace a faith that engages the whole human personality. Sam Harris, who is not popular among religious people and not even especially popular among many Unitarian Universalists, but someone whose critique I pay attention to, Sam Harris has said that one of the greatest challenges facing civilization in the 21st century is for human beings to learn to speak about their deepest personal concerns, about ethics, spiritual experience, and the inevitability of human suffering in ways that are not flagrantly irrational. We desperately need a public discourse that encourages critical thinking and intellectual honesty. I agree wholeheartedly. But Harris is mistaken when he erroneously concludes that nothing stands in the way of this project more than the respect we accord religious faith. For the truth is that secularism can be as irrational and emotional as faith. And wise faith, sound faith, dare I say liberal religion in general, and Unitarian Universalism in particular, can be critically aware and thoughtfully wise. Ever since Pythagoras postulated that the human soul is divided into three parts, intelligence, reason, and passion, adding that intelligence and passion are possessed by other animals, but reason by humans alone, we have been inclined to divide the human personality into its constituent parts, as if our minds could somehow be neatly separated from our emotions. Doing so has a certain utility at times, but we really do tend to overdo it. I know that when I experience something that I associate with my heart, that there is a psychological process going on in my head that is more defining of the experience than anything that may be happening in this little organ in the middle of my chest. Unitarian Universalists over the years have loved the various personality inventories, such as the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, which posit the tendency to think over and against the tendency to feel. And feeling has received short shrift among us, as Emerson cautioned, and yet thinking and feeling are intimately intertwined. We don't do one without doing the other. And we need to understand this. When we think we are being most rational, that we may in fact be being coolly calculating and hardly rational at all. And that there are times where, when we think we might be being simply emotional, in point of fact, we are being critically aware of our most precious values, which drive us to act, to be in the world in creative and wholesome ways. The poet Rainer Maria Rilke wrote, "Religion is something infinitely simple, ingenious. It is not knowledge, not content of feeling, for all content is admitted from the start, where a person comes to terms with life. It is not duty and not renunciation. It is not restriction. But in the infinite extent of the universe, it is a direction of the heart." While I can't wholeheartedly agree with Rilke's list of what religion is not, I share his sense that whatever else it might be, religion is a direction of the heart. I mean this in its twofold sense. It's a sort of double entendre. Any religion worth embracing will, in and of itself, contain an element of emotion which is both inspiring and satisfying. At the same time, any religion worth embracing will be sufficiently reasonable and encourage sufficient spiritual discipline so that it will serve to channel our feelings in positive ways. That is, it will offer direction to our emotions, tempering them when they are out of control and provoking them when they are sublimated in unnecessary and unhealthy ways. Only that which is deeply felt can change us, said Marilyn Ferguson. Rational arguments alone cannot penetrate the layers of fear and conditioning that comprise our crippling belief systems. On my flight to California last week, the in-flight movie was The Invention of Lying, a romantic comedy set in an alternate reality where everyone is perfectly truthful. As it turns out, a perfectly truthful world is not as appealing as it might sound at first. The dialogue is utterly hilarious, as everyone speaks their mind without censorship, without any regard for the feelings of others, since it has never occurred to anyone to lie. People all tell the truth without